morning, students. So in earlier class we discussed what is stress concentration and what are the various causes for stress concentration and how to reduce the amount of stress concentration in the machine components. And coming to today's class, so we discuss the fluctuating stresses. So up to this extent, what we have discussed, that is the various theories and what are the stresses that it uses. So the external forces acting on the machine component is static. That the stresses it uses is a static type of stresses. But here, in many of the majority of the applications of machine components, so most of the materials that are most of the machine components are subjected to the fluctuating type of loads, which means so these magnitudes of the loads can vary with respect of time duration. So those causes the fluctuating stresses. Clear? So majority of the machine components or 80% of the machine components can fail when it is subjected to this kind of stresses. So in these we are having the different types of stresses, and so what are those types and what are the terminology that we are going to use in these fluctuating stresses. So here so the distribution of the amplitudes of stresses can vary with respect of this time. So for our convenience of understanding, so we can represent these fluctuating stresses by means of sine wave. So let us see, so what are the different types of fluctuating stresses we are having. So here you can observe, so this is the sine curve we can represent for fluctuating stresses. So on y-axis we can represent with the stress, the amount of or the magnitude of the stress acting on the machine component or used in the machine component, and on x-axis you can take the time duration. So here, so in fluctuating stresses, the stress can fluctuates between the minimum to maximum stress. So here we are having the two different terms. One is a minimum value of stress, where the stress observed or induces in the machine component at the minimum magnitude of the stress, as well as so there is a maximum stress that is denoted by sigma max. So where it is a stress, it is a maximum amount of stress that it induces in the machine component where it is subjected to the maximum magnitude of the stress. So here in the fluctuating stresses, the stress can fluctuate between the minimum value of stress to the maximum value of stress. You can observe, so this can go into the maximum and again comes to the minimum value of stress with respect of zero stress value, and again it can go above to the maximum value. Again it comes to the minimum value, so that the stress will always fluctuates between the maximum and minimum. And here it may be a tensile type of stress or it may be compressive type of stress. So here from this point to the again it coming to the maximum and minimum and maximum and coming to the minimum. These one repetition of the stress, so we call it as one cycle of stress. We can represent in the form of cycles. So it is again coming to the zero here, is going to maximum and minimum and again zero. So from here to the here, so we can represent, so we call it as one cycle of stress. Again it is going maximum and zero and coming to the minimum and zero. Or neutral axis you can consider, or reference line you can take it as, so mean value of stress. So the stress which fluctuates between the minimum to the maximum, we call it as fluctuating stress in between that. So here in the fluctuating type of stresses, either it can fluctuate in the tension or half of the cycle that fluctuates in tension and half the cycle they can fluctuate in compression also. So, and coming to the repeated type of stress, so as well as the reversal type of stress. These are the two different types of special type of fluctuating stresses here. So in the fluctuating type of stress, you can observe it can fluctuate between the minimum to maximum. But coming to the repeated type of stress, the stress can fluctuate from zero to the maximum. There is no minimum value of stress. The stress can fluctuate maximum and comes to value of zero. So there is no minimum stress here. So that is sigma minimum is going to be zero in the case of repeated stress. So it can fluctuate either in tension or in compression. So that is completely in tension or in compression. Why? Because it can fluctuate between the zero to the maximum. So either it is a zero to the tensile maximum or zero to the compression maximum. It should not come into the another region of tension to the compression. So that is the case of repeated stress. Clear? And another type of stress, that is a reversed stress. It can reverse the sign from tension to the compression. So you can observe here, the stress will start from 0 to maximum tension it will come, and again it goes to 0, and the other half of the cycle it will observe in the minimum value of compression. That is the minimum stress you can observe in compression. So that means here it is a tension, and this half the cycle will be in compression. That will changes the sign from tension to the compression zone. That type of stress we call it as reversed stress. Clear? So from tension to the compression it will go. So the maximum you can observe in tension and the minimum you can observe in compression. So that I call it as a reversed type of stress. And if the magnitudes are same in the tension as well as in the compression, then this stress we call it as a completely reversal. For example, so here you can observe a stress of 10 Newton per mm square, 10 megapascal in tension. And similarly in compression you can observe, so that is minus 10 Newton per mm square. That is the magnitude, the maximum stress in the tensile is the same that of the magnitude of stress in the compression, which is the same. Then we call it as a completely reversed. The magnitudes are the same, but the change in sign we are observed. So that type of stress we call it as completely reversed type of stress. Clear? So here the fluctuating stress, they can fluctuate between the minimum to maximum, and in the repeated stress it can fluctuate between the 0 to maximum. There is a minimum stress is always 0 in this case in the repeated stress, and coming to the reversed stress, it can fluctuate between the maximum tension to the minimum compression. So that can reverse in the tensile zone to the compression zone, and if the magnitudes are same, that we call it as completely reversed type of stress. So here we are observed two terms, that is sigma minimum. So we can observe that, so, and as well as sigma maximum. So here again we need to know two more terms, so that relates to the fluctuating stresses. So that is, so if you take the mean value of the stress, so you can take a mean value of the stress for all the cases, that can be denoted by sigma mean or sigma m, we can denote with, so that you can observe. So the mean stress of the fluctuating stress, that is the mean stress, can be given by the mean value of the maximum to the minimum. So that is sigma max plus sigma minimum by 2. So here you can get the mean value, and here also you can get the mean value, but here the minimum is 0, so that so for both the cases of sigma m as well as okay, you can go with the another term. So that is a sigma mean value, mean stress sigma m, and there is a one more term, that is a variable stress, that is that is the maximum amplitude of the stress you can observe here. So that is denoted by sigma a, stress amplitude or variable stress or variance. So here, so two another terms need to be remembered, that is a mean stress and variable stress or stress amplitude, that is the maximum height of the peak we can observe in the sine curve with the mean value. We call it as stress variable or variable stress or stress amplitude here. That is denoted by sigma A, or you can also denote with sigma V. Clear? So sigma m, so that is the mean stress, can be find out by sigma max plus sigma minimum by 2, and for the variable stress it is a sigma A or stress amplitude sigma max minus sigma minimum by 2. And coming to these cases, so you can observe as a maximum and minimum for this case, but coming to the repeated stress, so here the minimum stress is always 0. So that so you can observe the stress amplitude as well as the mean stress are going to be same in the case of repeated stress. Why? Because the minimum stress is going to be 0 in this case, repeated stress. So and similarly you can go with the reversed stress. So in this case, so the sigma amplitude should be equal to the sigma A is equal to the sigma maximum, and here the mean stress sigma m is going to be 0. So that is sigma m is equal to 0. So that we can observe here, sigma m is going to be 0. Why? Because these maximum as well as the minimum are going to be the same magnitudes, so that the mean stress is going to be 0 in the reverse type or completely reverse type of stress, and the maximum stress is going to be a stress amplitude or variable stress. These are the 4 different terms we need to remember in this case of fluctuating stresses, and we can also remember these conditions, the special cases here for the repeated stress, the minimum stress is 0, and for the reversal stress, the mean stress is 0. So clear? So these are the 4 terms you need to remember. And here coming to the case, so when the machine members, it is observed that so when the machine members subjected to these kind of stresses, that is a fluctuating or repeated or reversal stress, that we call it as a cyclic type of loading conditions, so it can be observed. So the machine member may fail below their ultimate strength or even below their yield strength values, and it is going to fail in a fashion, so we can know how the material is going to fail. So that is for the ductile materials, we can observe in the by application of the static loading condition. In a simple tension test, you can observe the plastic deformation can takes place, and then it can form a neck, and then it is going to fracture. So, but coming to these case of cyclic loading conditions, the materials can fail due to the initiation of crack. That is, it can propagate the crack. It can form the microscopic crack on the surface near the geometrical irregularities or oil holes, where you can observe the sudden changes in the cross section, where the greater stress can be concentrated. So that we have discussed in the earlier class. Due to the various causes, it concentrates stress at different cross sections. So whenever these machine components are subjected to fluctuating stresses, these zones are very sensitive to initiate a crack due to the higher value of stress observed at these cross sections. So those initiated crack tends to propagate even further application of the applied load of these kind of loads, that is cyclic loads. The material or the machine component is going to fail by the propagation of the crack, that is like in brittle fashion, even can observe in the ductile type of materials, and the failure we call it as fatigue failure. So the machine components subjected to fluctuating type of loads, it is going to fail in brittle fashion, so by means of slow and progressive deformation of that is a progressive crack, propagation of the crack, initiation of the crack and propagation of the crack, and the failure we call it as fatigue failure. Clear? So that failure can happens, so even below the yield point or yield strength or ultimate strength in the case of brittle materials. Clear? So let us see, so what is fatigue failure and how it can observe, and what, so in this case, so how the machine members are going to design on what basis, that we will discuss here. So that is a fatigue failure. So as I stated, so it is whenever the machine components are subjected to the cyclic type of load, so it can fail below the yield point stress or even below the ultimate point, and this is known as the failure required as fatigue failure. So this fatigue failure means it is defined as a means of caused by means of progressive crack formation, which are usually very fine, it cannot observed by means of naked eye. So it is a very microscopic crack that can be initiated near the, that is crack can be formed near where the stress is concentrated. So due to the various observations, there is a microscopic size, then the crack tends to propagate. So here the fracture can observe in two different regions where the crack can be observed, which means one of the region you can find the plastic formation of the crack. So and then you can observe the crack can be initiated, that is in brittle fashion. So that is a slow and that is a progressive crack formation you can observe. So that is the initial stage of fracture, that is a fatigue failure, and after that it can be going to be fracture, that is a failure by means of fracture, that is a second region. So that is a failure without any prior intimation. So initially it can initiate the crack, that is a crack formation, and then it is going to fracture. There is a failure by means of fracture even in the ductile materials by the application of the cyclic loads that below these yield point stress. And these fatigue is affected. So how this material, that is a fatigue failure, can affect various of the factors, that is the size of the component and geometrical features and the surface roughness values as well as then geometrical properties or oil holes you can provide. There is a likewise I can load, the type of nature of load that is acting on the machine component. Likewise, this fatigue failure can affected by means of various of factors like relative magnetostatic and fluctuating loads, and the number of load reversals, that is a number of cycles it can be subjected to, as well as size of the component and the surface finish factors. Likewise, so all these can affect the failure of the machine component when subjected to the fluctuating type of loads, and the failure we call it as fatigue failure. Clear? So in static type of component, that is static loads, the design of machine components is very much easier. But coming to the fluctuating type of loads, so the design is going to be very complicated by considering the number of cycles and their fatigue. So you are stating it is going to fail below the yield point, so that we need to find so the strength that can withstand the fatigue limit. So that the strength we need to find out by means of conducting the fatigue test. And here, so we need to, by designing the machine components subjected to the fatigue type of loads, we need to take into account the various factors to avoid the fatigue failure. That is, so that is a surface finish. That is, one is the size of the component should be as gradually as possible, which means it does not provide a sudden changes. So that we can reduce the stress concentration value. So we have known that. So in the earlier class, we see in the causes of stress concentration, whenever the sudden changes in the cross section or in the geometry is possible, so there is always a stress concentrated. So whenever the stress concentration is more at the different particular areas, so that will gives rise to the formation of crack. So then immediately it is going to fail by means of fracture, so that you can completely avoid those conditions, so that the cannot provide a sudden changes, as well as there is a possibility of stress rises. You can reduce the stress risers like holes or notches and should be avoided, as well as you can provide some deconcentrators like to provide an additional notches or fillets, so that you can reduce the stress concentration. There is a methods we are studied earlier. So as well as these should be protected from corrosive atmosphere, which means you can provide some corrosive layers in corrosion atmosphere, so that whenever you can provide these kinds, so you can neglect the surface irregularities, so that even due to the surface irregularities of the surface roughness values, so it can cause us rise in the stress concentration. So you can avoid that. You can provide some surface coatings from the corrosive atmosphere. So as well as a fine surface finish to the outer surface, it will increases its fatigue strength. So whenever there is no surface irregularity, the stress concentration is low, so that fatigue failure does not occur below that. So that fatigue life is going to be greater, and material with the highest strength should be selected. And here it is stated, so highest strength of material fatigue strength should be selected. So how do we know what is the value of fatigue strength? So our endurance strength. So here, so to knowing this fatigue strength of material, we need to conduct an experiment called fatigue test. From the fatigue test experiment, we can know so the value of fatigue limit, or we call it as endurance limit. So the value we can call it as endurance limit or endurance strength or fatigue limit, all are same. So based upon the value of fatigue limit or endurance strength, we can design the machine components that are subjected to the fluctuating loads. Why? Because we are stating it is going to fail below the yield point, so that we need to know where the material is going to fail. That is, whenever we know the failure point, we can create the safe regions to give the better designs to withstand the load conditions. Clear? So for knowing the fatigue strength of the material, so we need to do the fatigue test. So let us see how the fatigue test is going to be conducted in the machine components, and how the endurance limit is going to find out from this experiment here. So here these are some of the factors that are to be taken into consideration to avoid the fatigue failure. So which is very similar to the causes as well as the methods to reduce the stress concentration. So whenever the stress concentration is more, which causes the initiation of the crack, so that we can avoid all these causes as well as you can apply the methods to reduce the stress concentration so that you can avoid the fatigue failure. And coming to the fatigue strength, that is our endurance strength, which is defined as the maximum amplitude of the stress that the material can subject it to until the infinite number of cycles without failure. So that is what endurance limit or fatigue limit or endurance strength. So here it is defined as, and it is denoted by sigma E, endurance limit or endurance strength. Sigma E is defined as the number of or maximum value of completely reversed. So as I stated, the completely reversed means the magnitude of the stress is same in the tension as well as the compression, that we call it as completely reversed stress, and it is here we are subjecting to the bending. So bending type of stress with the polished standard specimen. So in test specimen we are preparing with the fine surface film that we will discuss later. So whenever this polished surface specimen subject to the completely reversed bending stress up to in that for that component, so the maximum stress amplitude can or the maximum stress value is subjected to until the failure of without failure for infinite number of cycles, that we call it as endurance limit. That which means so up to the infinite number of cycles the material should not fail and it is subjected to the number of or the maximum value of completely reversed stress, that we call it as endurance limit. So endurance limit is defined as the maximum value of stress of completely reversed bending stress of a polished surface standard specimen until the infinite number of cycles without fatigue failure. It does not fail. So before going to the failure, so the maximum number of or maximum amount of stress amplitude it can withstand of standard specimen to the infinite number of cycles, and that strength we call it as endurance limit or endurance strength. So for the standard specimen we call it as endurance limit, that is subjected to the bending, but when it is subject to the other combination of the loads we call it as endurance strength or fatigue strength. In some of the cases we can also call it as fatigue strength of the material. So it is defined as the maximum stress value, safe maximum stress which can be applied to the machine component working at actual working to be actual component. Clear? So we need to know the machine component. So when it is going to be fail by the application of the fatigue loading conditions. So to the infinite number of cycles. So that we can go further designs by knowing the value of endurance limit. Based upon this value of endurance limit, we can perform the designs of the machine component when it is subject to the fluctuating type of loads. Clear? So to knowing this value of endurance limit for each and every material, so we can go for the fatigue test, that is we call it as rotating beam experiment. So that is fatigue test. So here you can observe the rotating beam experiment setup. So here the specimen, so this is a standard specimen. So this rotating beam experiment can be defined or given by the scientist called R.R. Moore. So he's represented these tests. So here this is a schematic representation for the rotating beam experiment. For going for the rotating beam experiment, we need to prepare a specimen with the standard sizes. With the length 85 mm and the diameter is 7.5 mm diameter and the radius we can provide 250. So these are the standard sizes of the specimen for which material we are going to determine the endurance limit or endurance strength. So for all the materials we need to prepare these standard sizes of specimens to find out the endurance strength. Clear? And the surface of the standard specimen is mirror polished surface finish. So why? Because so mirror polished surface, whenever you can give the very fine surface finish, that is mirror polished one. So mirror polished can avoid all the surface irregularities and can also look such that there is no any surface cracks or indentations or scratches. It is very fine surface finish, like that we call it as a mirror polished surface finish you can provide to the standard specimen. Clear? So it can provide with the standard dimensions, and as well as it can be operate within mirror file surface finish with an axial direction, so it can be avoid with circumferential defects. So it can be surface finished in an axial direction, and it is a mirror polished to avoid the surface irregularities, and it is subjective to the. So here this prepared specimen can be placed at this place, that is fixed at the two ends, and by means of this counterweight position, so we can add some weights, and here by means of electric motor these specimen can tends to rotate. So for example, so which means it is a circular member which is a rotating one, so which is going to be rotating one. So by the application of the loads, so at the two ends of the specimen, which subjects to the bending of the specimen. So in this fashion, we are going to bend the specimen, as well as it is going to be a rotating member. So here if you observe, so this is a neutral axis. So if you take a point A here, so at the neutral axis, it is going to be stress is 0. So if it is a component is going to rotating one, so it can take, so if you take a 90 degrees of rotation, the point A tends to rotate from point A to A dash, that is the bottom layers, which means the moment is acting, the bottom layers of the specimen are subjected to the or induces compression stress, and here it is a tensile stress, which means so from point A, so it is at point A, so the neutral axis, the stress is 0, and for the 90 degrees of rotation of the specimen, it will take place of A or A dash or A1, you can simply take A1. So that is at the bottom layer. So bottom layer subjected to compressive stresses. So which means from here to here. And again furthermore 90 degrees, the A1 can be occupies the place of A2. So again it comes to neutral axis, the stress is again 0 at neutral axis. And further 90 degrees, so it takes place of A3. So which means from neutral axis to the topmost layers, that is A3, which is the subjects to maximum tension. So from neutral axis to the maximum tension. Again from A3 to A, further 90 degrees. So which will take again come to the neutral axis. That is stress is 0. So you can observe that this specimen is subjected to the completely reverse. If the weight is constant, so which means for one complete revolution of the test setup, we can observe one cycle of stress. Clear? So one complete revolution of the specimen observes subjecting to the one cycle of loading condition. So which means the magnitude is same. Why? Because we are not changing any loads here. So that so it is completely reverse type of bending stress. Clear? So the specimen is prepared with the standard dimensions, and it is a mirror polished fine surface finish. So in axial direction, and it is subject to the completely reversed bending stress. And here in the machine, at the end of the machine, we are having the revolution counter that will count the number of revolution, which will be directly equal to the number of cycles that the specimen is going to be subjected to. Clear? So here you from the test setup, we can note two different readings. One is the stress amplitude, and another one is the number of cycles that the component is going to subjected. Clear? So here, so it can record the number of cycles until the formation of the crack for each single specimen, so that you can get then one set of values. So likewise, so with increase of loads, so for the first specimen we can represent with some sort of load, that is a 10 kilonewtons. So we can record the number of cycles up to the maximum, up to the formation of the crack. So you can replace with the specimen with the another specimen, and again you can increase the load, and again you can note down the number of cycles for that specimen too. So that again you will get the another set of readings. So likewise you can obtain the number of sets of readings or set of values you can observe for different specimens with the increased or varying loads corresponding with the number of cycles that the specimen is subjected. Clear? So by using all this data, so that is a stress amplitude as well as the number of cycles. So here the fatigue endurance limit can be observed as for the infinite number of cycles. So it is not possible to operate at the infinite number of cycles. So that 10 power 6 number of cycles is considered as an infinite number of cycles. Whenever the material machine component is going to operate beyond the 10 power number of 6 cycles, we consider it as an infinite